Hey everybody, this is Jonathan here from Lehigh Valley Music and Sound, and with me today is the Todd Moyer Band, two of the members at least. We got the lead guitarist, Todd, lead vocalist, Brian. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely, thank you.
Good to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, all the way from Souderton, PA.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Did I pronounce that right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, you did. We're 45 minutes north out of Philadelphia.
Yeah. Very good.
10 minutes from here. No, just kidding.
50 minutes from here.
So.
Well, it was great meeting you guys, and all right, that's it. I'll see you guys next week. No,
Absolutely. See you later, guys. You want to know more about us?
follow the links.
Below.
These guys are awesome. I chat with all my guests well in advance of the show just to do a little meet and greet because I'm meeting all these people for the first time, just as you probably are watching at home or on the go, wherever you are. So these are two awesome guys, and I'll have you start out, Todd. Just telling me a little bit about the band, like how long have you guys been together playing, and how this all began.
Wow.
Before I was like, would you take a seat? This is going to be a while, right?
Yeah.
Take a seat, guys.
He's a little long-winded, so.
A little long-winded.
No,
that's Brian. That's my vocalist.
Grab a beverage, maybe a little notepad or book.
Well, just sit back and relax.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been going for over 30 years. Fair Warning Ministries is a ministry that the band is under. And it started 30 years ago. Brian and I actually go back to high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Way before that, elementary. Really.
Yes, elementary.
That's
but
really cool.
but I'm talking band wise.
Yeah.
We actually graduated. I graduated in 85. He graduated in 84.
Goes for more.
So we started the band, or I started the band after high school, and I knew where I wanted to be in a music career and as a guitar player, and I talked to Brian, and he came on board, and the rest is history.
So you guys have been playing for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I was born in 1984.
Wow.
Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, I feel my age now.
Wow. Way to drop a bomb, right?
Jeez. How old are we now? Holy cow. Okay.
I'm thinking, what a jerk.
We're not going there.
We won't take that and run with it.
No. So yeah, the music, we knew exactly the style of music. Van Halen style in the Christian market. Christian hard rock.
And that's really cool because I mean, Van Halen style is very fun music.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure at that time, I'm just because I've listened to Christian rock when I was a teenager, and so I listened to Stryper. I know you mentioned Stryper before the show. Mm-hmm. I listened to Living Sacrifice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
DC Talk. Brave Saint Saturn. And I know that Christian alternative kind of became a thing, a big thing in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But now in the 80s, I don't really know how prevalent it was.
Oh, it was huge.
Was it? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, there were a lot of bands, I think, but they were it was kind of still in its infancy, so to speak, in a way.
Still pretty new.
Yeah.
Because you have like what you were talking about, but even before that, like the Res bands, and there was. And that was kind of the early ones there.
They were in the 77. Resurrection Band was in 77.
Wow.
They did not come out with their first album in 78. Mm-hmm. that's when they were huge,
Yeah.
along with Petra, because Petra, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, was their biggest hit when did they come out? 70 something?
Yeah, probably back in the 70s. Or even,
70.
Yeah.
But Kiss did God Gave Rock and Roll to You, and I don't quote me, but I think they took it or they heard it from Petra, but somebody else wrote it
Yeah.
with Petra, or the guy that started Petra. So I don't know the full story on it yet.
Yeah.
I probably still don't know the full story, but
We'll never know.
those two bands were the biggest bands out in the 80s until Stryper came in, and then White Cross came in, Guardian, all these other Christian hard rock bands started to follow in the mid to the end of the 80s.
Yeah.
Like 84-ish, something like that. That's when it really started to get big.
And then, not to get too off topic, even though I always get off topic on this show.
This is fine.
It's cool.
We'll run with it.
Bracing,
We're running with it.
Because I come from a Christian upbringing, and I listen to a lot of the, I would say alternative bands like DC Talk and Brave St. Saturn. Now, you guys lean more towards the rock to hard rock side. And I would say like Brave St. Saturn, I'm not sure if you're familiar with their music, but they're kind of more popish rock. But what I liked about them was, especially Brave St. Saturn, was their lyrics were very edgy, almost to the point where, because I came from a very conservative upbringing,
Right.
it was almost to the point where I was like, are you guys allowed to say that? And I think that because it's really like and especially I'm sure many years ago, it was the first time anybody introduced rock and roll to the Christian genre. There was probably a lot of jaw dropping.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
and
yes.
especially the lyrics, because the lyrics in some of the Brave St. Saturn songs were, they weren't wrong, they weren't blasphemous, but they were just like, they cut right to you. Like it was almost like a sermon built into a song.
Right.
And it was written so craftfully, I'm not sure if that's even a word, that it just delivered the message really hard.
Right.
And it almost made you question, are they allowed to say that?
Yeah.
But they didn't say anything wrong. It was like unheard of.
Well, that's what you brought that up with Stryper.
Yeah.
Their lyrics were right on. They were right in your face. But let me tell you, the music was in a different. They were in the Christian hard rock, but they were going. Everybody was listening to them, even the non-believers.
Yeah.
Were listening to them.
Yeah.
And
I remember when I was because before I got into Christian metal, I was listening to secular metal, and I was a Slayer fan, Pantera, and Metallica.
Right.
And then I looked up Stryper when I was searching for bands that sounded similar to Slayer. Now, vocally Stryper didn't sound like Slayer. They had more of the 80s hair metal vocals, but their guitar riffs sounded a lot like Slayer.
Right,
Okay.
Right.
And so I really got into their music just solely based on that.
Right. Right. Yeah, there's a lot of crossover as far as stylistic goes, and I think that kind of falls into the background of the artist, and how they're influenced and that type of thing too has a lot to play. Like Todd said, he's heavily into Van Halen. I kind of come from a different point, because my favorite band was like Def Leppard. I used to love that, and the two guitars and kind of complementing each other, that type of thing too.
Yeah.
But then too, like Dawkins. So I think ours it's more geared towards the kind of the Van Halen style, but like you can hear different genres, different groups
Oh, absolutely.
integrated in between our songs and stuff like that too. And
it's cool, especially when you combine the genres within the same song.
oh yeah,
I mean, that's awesome.
But it's funny you mention that because, like, I think the more influence that you have, and as far as musically brought in, not just sticking with the one genre, say like hard rock or heavy metal, like too, like if you can get, it's almost like a smorgasbord. Okay, I'll take a little heavy metal, I'll take a little jazz, I'll take a little maybe bluegrass, maybe some pop in there too, but maybe some country, but it's just the more you have on your palette, and the more influence you have, and I think it just broadens your musical palette, so to speak, and it comes across in how you go create a song and stuff.
And I think that a lot of people are too, and this is definitely I think the case in the metal genre, that it's too compartmentalized. Because honestly, like listening to the song "The Wishing Well," I would say that falls under the broad genre of metal. It's not there. It's because I think a lot of times people think metal has to be screaming, but it doesn't.
Right.
But it's the delivery. The delivery of the song is very metal, even though there's singing vocals or melodic vocals.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up listening to instrumental, so I played. Even though Van Halen was the number one go-to music genre.
Yeah.
But I did all the instrumental. Alan Holdsworth, whoever knows instrumental music, Alan Holdsworth, he was actually the instrumental guitar player back in the 80s and the 90s. Then you got into Joe Satriani, which he came in the late 80s. Then you got Steve Vai.
Now that's a name I know.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows that name.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Anybody that was into metal at all.
Yeah. But then I go, well, I'm gonna take the Van Halen, the instrumental, and the R&B, the jazz, and I'm going to combine them. And for this new album that we just got done, I went back to my stopping ground and I did the whole thing that way. The full CD was that way.
That's really cool.
And the CD that's out has vocals and instrumental tracks.
Nice.
all on one CD. And we did it at my studio, and it just grew and grew with a lot of different personalities. I mean, Brian and I, do you like this? No, but I really like this. And you really just have to, your mindset just goes and says, well, how is this going to sound live?
Yeah.
How is this going to sound in the studio? And you gotta know yourself in and out first before you can even do anything else.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that you can pull off in the studio, a lot of magic, but then it's like, how are you gonna reproduce that live
in the live performance? And I said it's got to be straightforward, and 2, it's got to be playable in the live performance, and 3, the musician's got to play it.
So did you hear that, guys? They have a new album out.
Yes.
I'd like to hear more about this.
Voila.
Wow. Okay, point it at that camera there
Right
so
here?
you can see that.
Right here. Yeah.
TMB Flex 3.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Guitar Experience.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Very nice.
So.
And where can we find this CD?
You can go on
At fine stores near you.
Yes.
And online. Just kidding.
Spotify, Pandora, all the major.
And through your website, there's a store there. Is it?
You can go. Yes, you can go on our website to get the CD as well, or you can look up on Spotify, TMB Flex Guitar Experience. It's on the major outlets, all the major outlets.
Awesome.
Distribution. If you want to get to our website, it's www.toddmoyerband.com. We have T-shirts, CDs. I have guitar pick. In fact, this guitar pick right here is actually for sale. So
Oh, very nice.
it has the same thing on it as what's on here.
Yeah. And it's nice. It's got it's like a purple and kind
It's
of like
purple?
gold. It's kind
Yeah.
of like that.
Purple's my favorite color.
Yeah.
So, but it's pretty cool. Anyways, but yeah, no, kind of what he was saying too. I mean, for me, vocally on this one was kind of a learning experience for me too, because not only did I do the lead vocals, but I did the backing vocals too. So I had to think in my mind, okay, how am I going to harmonize?
I heard people can do that.
Yeah.
And that seems totally freaky.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I was told this years ago. I think I was still in high school because I was in choirs in all kinds of choruses and select choirs. And I remember someone saying that it was possible and that some musicians have done it where they can somehow split the airflow in their vocal cords. But I don't think that could be good for you.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
It's a challenge. So, but yeah, for me in that aspect, to do the backing vocals and the lead vocals as well is kind of stretched me creatively. It opened up my eyes to a whole lot of appreciation for what people can do and the harmonies that go along with that too, and also on the creative end of that too, what Todd was saying, okay, let's try this, see how it works, and if it doesn't work, we can try something else, So in that sense, coming up with an idea, running with it, see if it fits, and if it doesn't fit, we can try something else, And to me, that was kind of a challenge, but also an adventure in and of itself, to see how things would work and how it played out. And I liked what I did. I was pleased with what the sound and stuff like
absolutely.
that.
I think,
but yeah, it is
overall. It
is tough. I think, like what you said, for vocalists to kind of do that and think outside the box too as well, and I think not many people can probably do that. I think
I would say that's a very unique skill.
I'm not trying to categorize or discredit anything. It's just I guess it's kind of a unique gift, I guess, if you will, for somebody to kind of do that and have the mindset to kind of think that, how to harmonize in that.
Yeah.
Too. So, I did come up, my background's been through music all my life too as well, growing up at home and stuff like that. My dad played guitar, mom played piano, and she had each of us kids take, I think it was like 3 or 6 months worth of piano lessons.
Stories.
So we had to go all throughout that, and it was good. I appreciated it, but the piano just wasn't my thing. My dad played guitar, and I love a guitar. So, and I even as a vocalist, I don't think of myself as a vocalist. I still think of myself as a guitar player.
Do you?
Yeah, really? And like we were talking earlier, as far as the limelight and stuff like that, I'm not one that prone to that. I just don't like it. I'm very kind of, like you said, introverted. I can spend time by myself. I can.
But I'm good at hiding it, right? I'm good at faking it.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
I know people probably think I love being on camera, but I don't. And here I am.
Yeah.
The first time I told one of my best friends, we were out at the pub and having some drinks, and it was karaoke night. We were usually out on a karaoke night. Mm-hmm. And I just got done singing who knows how many songs. And we're sitting at the bar having our drinks, and I told him, I said, I have social anxiety.
Yeah.
He looked at me and he laughed. he and it wasn't, he said, I'm not laughing at you, I'm not making fun of you. He's like, oh, you're serious? Mm-hmm. He thought I was joking.
Wow.
He thought I was joking, and he said to me, well, I can't tell.
Yeah.
He said, you get up there and you sing karaoke, and you come in this bar and you act like you're the life of the party. I said, mm-hmm. I learned to fake it. Mm-hmm. Because I enjoyed being around people. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed singing. Mm-hmm. And so, I fully admit that every time I stepped in front of the crowd to sing, I always had the butterflies in my stomach. I felt nervous as hell, you know.
Yeah.
And even when I would walk in the door, I felt uncomfortable. And you know, people would often say, "Hey, you walk right past me, you didn't say anything," because I beeline it.
Right.
Because
right, yeah.
you know, with the social, you feel like everyone's staring at you, even though they're not.
Yeah.
You know, it's all in your mind. You know.
Yeah.
But even knowing that, it still gets in your head.
Right.
And it's like, but it's I learned to fake it over the years. You know, and you know, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get at faking it. You know, I'm used to being in front of the camera. I'm used to being on stage. You know, I performed for congregations. You know, as solo acts. You know, and it's hard for some people to believe. You know, because I've met other people that have social anxiety, and they're like, I don't believe that you do that. I don't believe that you have it. I'm like, well, you know, you could choose to live your life in a shell, or you can choose to just, you know, take life by the reins and, you know, do something.
True.
You know.
True.
Even if you feel a little uncomfortable.
That's right.
I remember the first time I played live, and this was back when Tempest, we were opening up for Tempest. What's his, the lead singer for...
Jamie Rowe.
Jamie Rowe. He was the lead singer for Tempest. That's where he started out, right? That was his first... Was that his first band? Yeah. So
him and his brother.
Yeah. Started it, and we opened up for them. And I remember, man, I was so scared. I mean, literally so scared I got sick.
He was sweating.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I thought about running out and going out the backstage door.
Hey, that reminds me of high school.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. Well, after the first song, I think the nerves kind of just calmed down in that. But it's just, yeah. I mean, just
it's the anticipation,
right? And just how people are going to perceive you
That's
or think about you, or you're going to be good enough, and that type of thing. Just a lot of anxiety of that. But I think like once you get past that, you know, then things become, you know, a little more easier to...
Because you rely on the audience.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You know, what you're saying and what you're saying, I ran into that as well as a guitar player. But I'm going to say this, and this goes to all the musicians and guitar players. In order for you to stand up on stage and know your songs is to know your songs.
Yeah.
And that means that you don't get drunk. You don't do anything because you don't think clearly, and you think that you want to get drunk because you think that's cool. Go ahead. But it's not. That's not who you are. You are a player. You're up on stage. People are looking at you. And if you want to make a statement on, don't say, hey, look at me. Make a statement on ability to play your songs great.
Yeah.
And know your songs. Practice your songs.
I'm gonna take your point one step further and say that the whole because you know that the whole movement with the drugs and stuff that all started in the '60s, and people were it's a myth. People were under the impression that it enhanced their creative abilities, and I think it's the total opposite.
Yeah.
It
Correct.
It not paralyzes, but it I think it makes it worse.
Yeah, it does.
In your head, you think that you're more creative, but really, it's just inhibiting. That's the word I was looking for. It's inhibiting your creativity.
Yeah,
It is. And it's funny you bring that up because, like, you know, you think of sobriety and stuff like that, and people who kind of are prone to addictive behavior and that type of thing, you know, and so they can't do that kind of thing, you know, without being affected because they know, you know, all it takes is just one time and they're gone. You know what I mean? There's just and the thing, particularly if you're a person who's creative and likes ideas and stuff like that, you know, if you're under the influence of some kind of substance, your creative abilities diminish.
Yes.
Scientifically speaking, that's why we have drunk driving laws and stuff like that. If you're under the influence, it just inhibits you. You're not at your peak performance. Your reasoning and your thought processes are limited.
Sure.
Are slowed. So we'll take that over into the art realm. If you're creating something, stuff like that, you want it to be as good as possible, so your audience will appreciate the work that you do. If you're under the influence of a substance or something like that, that just kind of chips away at that the authenticity, I guess, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm gonna probably step on some toes by saying this, but I think a lot of the psychedelic music from the 60s and 70s, I think a lot of it's garbage.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I know that I'm gonna upset a lot of people out there that maybe love it. And the reason why I say it is because it's not that instrumentally the stuff is fine, but the lyrics and the content is just what the hell are you guys even talking about?
Yeah.
It's like you're not making any sense. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's because they were tripping on acid while they wrote the song.
Probably.
But this is, I think, when they went the psychedelic route. Now I don't know who all was taking drugs back then.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say that I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt and say most of the mainstream people were not.
Yeah.
And when you're a songwriter and you're making music for the masses, and it's being put on public radio, you have to. I mean, I think it's important to write music that people can connect with.
Right, absolutely.
Right,
and when I hear you singing songs, and I'm directly picking on a band. I'm not going to mention their name, but anybody that knows the song is going to know what I'm talking about. When you start singing about diamonds in the sky and strawberries and fields, and I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think the music sounds absurd. And I just don't understand it, and but that's going back to the inhibition of creativity, because
Correct.
I'm sure in their minds, in their state of mind, it was like a breakthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, this sounds wonderful.
In an enlightened state, right?
But now to all the sober people, we're going, maybe if I smoke whatever they're smoking, I can understand.
I can probably realize what they're talking about. Well, okay, let's take it another step further.
I love the way we're going with that, kind of taking it and running with it.
Well, we're gonna run with this one, and then he'll ask another question.
Yeah.
As a player, as a drummer, as a guitar player, or as a bass player, know your parts.
Yeah.
Know them. Sit down and figure out, what can I do better? Because there's going to be a time where a band wants you, or there's going to be a vocalist that, I'm talking a known vocalist that you would be able to work together, but they're going to say, man, I don't know, you're not up to this level.
Yeah.
And if you're not up to this level, you better get up to that level. And how are you going to get up to that level? Is by being good, know your stuff, and know what's to be played. And
I always tell local artists, I said, no matter where you're playing, always
do
play
the best.
your best.
Yeah.
Because I love telling this story. I saw this on VH1 years ago. Creed was discovered in a regular bar.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happened that they were playing a gig one night, and the bartender knew someone in the music industry. He started to hear them play, and he called his friend up, and he said, "You got to come down here. You got to hear this band." And the rest is history. But that's how they made it. They were just playing a regular community bar.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying before about playing your best and knowing your part as a musician in a live concert. Now, there's only two bands I've ever seen live that I actually will say they were better live than on their album. And that has got to be the utmost compliment you could possibly give to a band.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I'll even name the bands. It was Papa Roach and the other band, drawing a blank. Why am I drawing a blank?
That always happens when you're trying to figure out.
Well, I will say this: Van Halen was phenomenal.
Oh, I got it. Crossfade.
Okay.
And you know, I'm not a fan of any of those bands.
Yeah.
But I saw them live because back in 2005, I was working with this one guy, and he said, "Hey, you know, my girlfriend really likes Crossfade, and I like Seether. They're going to be at Music Fest, and Crossfade is opening up for Seether. Like, all right, what? $22 for a lawn seat? What the heck?" So I went, and loved them. And Crossfade was amazing. I mean, the lead vocalist was also the lead guitarist, and the way he shredded the guitar was just totally phenomenal. He got done with this one solo, and I started applauding. And I was going crazy, you know, and I'm looking around, and everybody's just kind of like, just dead. I'm like, where the heck is your guys' appreciation here? Like, he just did this amazing solo, which you don't even see that much, you know, in modern rock.
Today, no.
Yeah.
And he was freaking amazing. And I didn't own the CD, but I watched the music video. That was their biggest hit, Cold. Even the one guy that had the CD said they sounded better live. And with Papa Roach, the one song I really loved when I saw him live, I didn't really like the studio track.
Right.
But when they were live, they just exploded on the stage. I mean, they were just like a ball of fire.
Yeah.
And they were just an amazing live band.
A lot of bands can do that, and a lot of bands can't.
Yeah.
You gotta be a, I can't say special band. You gotta know your stuff, and you gotta know what's going to work. You know,
and like you said, being on your A game.
Yeah.
You know, knowing your music.
Yeah.
Knowing, you know, where you're going to be on stage at this point, and you know, giving people a reason to want to go to your live shows instead of just throwing your CD in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's
whether it be, you know, well, I love to go see the Todd Moyer band because, you know, their albums are cool, but when I go to their shows, they go through all these crazy solos, and they're freaking awesome, you know, and they're really improv like that, you know. It gives them a new experience that you know, it's like, because I know there's a lot of bands out there, or so I've been told, that sound just like the CD. Someone told me that about the Killers. I'm a huge Killers fan, but I've never seen them live. I was gonna buy a ticket, and they were all sold out. Like, all the tickets sold out within 90 minutes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they were at the Sands Casino, going back some years ago.
Okay.
Well, anyways, so this one bartender I was talking to years ago, she was telling me, "Oh yeah, they were horrible live." Like, really? You mean they sucked? They didn't sound good? Like, no, but they just sounded like they did on the CD. That's it. Like, oh, okay. Well, that's good. I mean, at least they sound like they did in the album.
Yeah. I mean, some
bands don't even do that.
Some bands can pull that off, and some bands don't sound great live because they don't work on their live performances.
Yeah.
And
they don't have the studio to
do that.
Cover certain things up.
Correct. And that's why Brian calls up, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm in my studio. I'm working on my guitar." Or, "I'm in my studio. I'm just working out on my sound." You know, I'm in the tone mode, and what I mean by tone is meaning get the best guitar tone out of your guitar and out of your amp as possible. Work on it. Do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
He can vow on what I do with all my equipment. I take all my equipment apart. I take all my guitars apart and I put them back together. I've done that for years, but I don't do a lot of it now. But when I have to, that's the only way you know your instrument. Get to know your instrument. Make it part of you, who you are.
So you're a guitar specialist.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, someone that has an issue with their guitar could take it to you and you could be able to fix it for them. That's impressive.
Yeah, he's got some clients.
I got some clients.
We're gonna get you all kinds of business on this show. Is your guitar? Are you having trouble with your guitar? Is it broken? This guy, he can help you out.
Yeah.
Listen,
We'll call him the guitar doctor.
now if you want to work on your tone or work on getting the best sound of your guitar or amps, I'll work with you.
Yeah.
I'll be your guy. I worked with they're a national known band called White Cross. The guy's name is Rex Carroll. Look him up. Phenomenal guitar player. He has won. It's either 5 or 10 double awards.
Wow.
Guitar player. He is that good. He and I, we talk all the time. We work on tour dates together all the time, every year. Phenomenal. And we talk back and forth on tone. What are you doing? Well, I took this guitar apart and, and then.
See, when I take things apart, I usually can't get them back.
Yeah,
get back together. But
I don't have a good track record on that either.
What's this extra part? I guess it's not important. It doesn't fit anywhere.
But working with the lead singer for Petra, we worked with all these bands, Petra, White Cross, Striper, but we're all friends, and they're all national recording artists. And John Schlitt is a phenomenal singer, and a good friend of mine that lives in Quakertown. We put a show together with Petra, and we did it all. We did it all, and then John and I became good friends.
And I like and appreciate the collaboration, because I think that sometimes it's almost like there's a sense of competition.
Correct.
Amongst bands.
True.
And it's really a shame, because it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
Well,
We can all coexist.
Right. And I think touching on a point that I kind of like, because it shouldn't be a competition. If we're all
It
out
should
there
not. No.
doing the same thing, and we're all showcasing our abilities, our God-given talent, and so why wouldn't we just kind of promote each other and do our best to put others in the best kind of possible light,
Right.
according to
Absolutely.
and that being said too, we work with other artists who aren't well known too. We when we were doing this Striper concert out in Indianapolis, we hooked up with Cool Hit Priest. And we hit it right off the bat.
Great guys.
That's cool.
Great.
It's a husband and wife.
It's a
team,
husband and wife team.
and they're probably a little more harder than we are.
They're like more. They're like metal with a hint of hard rock.
Yeah.
We hit it off. Because we brought all of our equipment in, and as part of the person that was heading the festival up, we were all sharing everybody else's equipment, right?
Yeah.
So the funny part was, we go down to our dressing room, and here comes Cool Hit Priest.
Yeah.
Great guys. Hey, what are you doing? When are you guys going? Oh, yeah, we got this, but we don't have this. We don't. Hey, can we share equipment? Oh man, guys, you could go on our equipment no matter.
Yeah.
We had our drum set there for all 5 bands.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had my double stack 5150 amp and cabinets. I think all the guitar players except one band was working on my equipment. We had all 5 drummers on our own drum set.
You let other people play your guitars?
No,
I was gonna say, wow, that's
Not quite that far.
I know. No one touches my guitars.
all right.
Nobody.
That's where you draw the line.
I was getting worried at first.
Well, the only person that actually touched my guitar was Benny Ramos. That's our bass player. He's the bass player for White Cross, and Rex Carroll. He's the guitar player for White Cross. I think they're the only 2 that actually has held my guitars and played.
Well, you probably asked them to play it and bless it.
I did that too.
Play this.
No, because we all know each other on how, what's the word, knowledge, and like I know you're not going to,
right, I know what you're saying,
hurt, it's
it knows how to
it's
handle
that credibility.
it properly.
Correct, it's that credibility. I did let the guitar player from Cool Hip Priest play my PV Wolfgang and one other guy, and the reason I did that was because he didn't have his guitar right there, and I said, you can play this one, but
don't let it happen again.
No. It's a matter of credibility.
Yeah.
You won't touch my guitars if there's no credibility.
Yeah. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, because my friend and mentor who got me started with video production, he wouldn't just hand his camera off to anybody. He trusts me with his gear. I handled his thousands of dollars worth of equipment of his.
Absolutely.
And he wouldn't let just anybody do that, but he knows I'm very careful with everything. So, so I know exactly what you mean by that.
And Brian, he handles my guitars too. So.
I mean, I know how expensive the instruments and gear gets, so I understand why you're like, I'm just gonna put this over here and put it back in its case.
Yeah, and then we have roadies, and they say, can I put your guitars away? I go, no, you don't. Here's what I want you to do. You just stand over here and get all the gear all the cords.
Yeah.
Somebody will handle that stuff. And even when I fly, the guitar goes with me on the plane. It doesn't go underneath. And then
I think it's just a lot of it. I think is just ignorance. I think a lot of people don't realize how much this stuff costs. I mean,
they don't care.
I have a rough idea, because I mean, I took guitar lessons briefly when I was a teenager, and of course, I wound up looking up guitars online and slobbering over them. And I mean, this is just like stock prices. I had my eyes on a Gibson Les Paul Sunburst.
Oh my!
Cherry Burst. And I'm just looking at it, and like I said, this is stock price. It was $2,000 or a little over. And when I say stock, I mean there's no customization, anything. Now, when you get into customization, forget about it.
Oh, then it goes way up.
So to have gear in that price range, you don't even want anyone breathing on it, let alone handling it. And I think a lot of people don't understand. They just don't understand how expensive this stuff is. Until you get to the point where you can afford to replace it without it being a big deal.
Right.
Well, you guard it with your life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's kind of, in that sense too, it's kind of, at some point in the industry, it gets ridiculous. Some of the prices you have to pay for stuff, I guess at that point you're more a collector than you're a guitar player,
Yeah.
You just hang it up on the wall somewhere, but you're afraid to play. But
well, here's something you got to think about when you're performing, and the venues say, well, we're all going to pay you this, but we're bringing all of our equipment, and we're bringing top-notch instruments. You're defeating the purpose. Do you really care on what we're doing? And we were supposed to play this festival out in Pittsburgh. I'm not going to mention any names. And they said, well, all your instruments will be put in a room. And and I looked at Brian and I go, really? I mean, we haven't had any stolen yet.
I gotta go back. Yeah, go ahead.
And I said, well, that ain't gonna fly. If you have room with 30 bands of equipment in, I don't take that lightly.
Yeah,
You know,
I wouldn't feel comfortable with that
You
either.
know, you know, and then they say, well, who's going to pay for it if it gets stolen, and who's going to get that particular model back?
Yeah,
Because you can't. Not the models that I have. You know,
yeah.
you can't get it back.
And what you were saying earlier about it mattering or not, the type of instruments they have.
Yeah.
Maybe they got something totally customized and optimized to sound the best it possibly can. Because I know my one guitar teacher was telling me years ago that Tom Petty had special strings on his guitar that it made a difference, I guess, in the tonal quality. And he also liked having the tension a little bit looser and not up to the normal tension.
Right.
And all affecting sound quality. Now, if you tell, depending on where you're playing, even if you told a huge venue, it's probably going to be in one ear out the other. They don't care.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like it's like the unseen appreciation.
Yeah.
You don't realize you appreciate it, but you do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like good audio versus bad audio. You don't appreciate good audio until you've experienced bad audio, and a lot of people are spoiled with good audio.
Correct.
But anyways, it's like with movies. I say this all the time. With color grading, color grading is the most underappreciated art form in video production.
Oh yeah.
And in movies, because nobody thinks about it. And if you're not from the video cinematic background, you don't know anything about it. But you appreciate it without knowing it.
Right.
Imagine a horror film being color graded like a comedy.
Right.
Vice versa. It would be weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when it comes to playing and optimizing your instruments, if you I think if you're playing huge venues, like someone like Tom Petty, God rest his soul. If you're someone like Tom Petty, you don't care. You're selling out venues. You're making a lot of money, so it's not something you make a point to tell them because they're not even. It's going to go right over their heads.
Oh yeah.
They don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't know why you just spent $10,000 on a guitar. They're thinking, well, why don't you just spend $500?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
And they're not going to understand, but there is a difference because everything
Absolutely.
down to the type of wood, to the type of strings, it all plays that part in the tonal quality.
The equipment, what's in it, what's on it, how well it performs.
Yeah.
I think you have to, give and take. Okay, well, if you're really not handy with guitar, but you can play it, well, that's one thing. But if you're handy with guitar or guitars and build or whatever, then yeah, by all means, you can do whatever you want. I mean, I've done that since I was 16. Build my own guitars, and then, I did drum sets. I didn't build drum sets. I refinished drum set and guitars, bass, violins. I had people come to me with violins, refinish violins and or put a new, plate on. But I think it goes back to when we first started this interview. Going back to, I started when 30 years ago. I've been playing guitar for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Your style, who you are, what comes out is what you play, is what you work with, is what your guitars look like.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly what you mean. There was some contradiction to that, though. I seen this one band, and I drawn a blank on the style of music it was, but they had like heavy metal style guitars, and it wasn't heavy metal, so it's kind of strange.
There you go. That'll throw you off a little bit, right?
Or there was the lead singer of I forget his name. The lead singer of Metallica was playing a guitar, which it wasn't a Gibson Les Paul, but it was that style of a guitar. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not an expert on guitars.
I know what it is, but I can't remember the name of the guitar now. I can't.
But it didn't look like what you would consider to be a metal guitar. A metal guitar.
Yeah, yeah. I know what it is.
Standard in the industry, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I think it's an Ibanez.
It does look like that.
I think it's an Ibanez. It's a different shape. Ibanez, but
you know what? They're also at the point in their career where they just do whatever the heck they want.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know what? God bless them for that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, for sure.
It's almost like playing an acoustic guitar and having rock music coming out. Right? Just doesn't look and sound right? Or feel right.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
So I mean, we could probably talk for hours.
Yeah.
But let's. How can people get a hold of you? Like if they want to book a show with you, they just want to buy stuff from you. The website's toddmoyerband.com.
Yes.
And if worse comes to worse, you can get shoestring and tin cans at both ends. And
You guys play all over the place, right?
Yes.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, we're all over the map.
Yeah.
We out of state mostly. Florida, California,
Wow.
Texas, Wisconsin, Chicago, North Carolina. We had done Canada, Ontario.
We'll go out of country too as well. So
Yeah,
anybody sees us from Venezuela or Ecuador
Brazil.
or
In fact, our bass player,
Yugoslavia,
China,
well,
Yeah, give these
Japan.
guys. You gotta check out their page, check out their music. Some of their music is going to be included in this video and on their website. And I'm working with them to get some of their tracks. They're going to be on the radio station, LVMS Radio, which you can download the app, the Live 365 app, and search LVMS Radio, and you can listen to all the greatest hits from the 90s to now, 24/7, plus local artists as well. Artists such as Todd Moyer Band. So check these guys out. Really great guys to talk to and work with. Excellent people, excellent musicians. So if you're looking for someone to play at your venue or maybe even a birthday party, why not?
Whatever.
we can tone it down a little bit too. Do the acoustic thing.
And if you want to,
Who would want that?
that's right. And if you want to try to, if you want to get a hold of us, email us from our website, www.toddmoyerband.com.
We're also on Facebook too.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. Just look up Todd Moyer, and we're on there. And then email us. And if you're having problems getting hold of John, and he'll get in touch with us. And
And I get back to everybody, so...
Yeah. And
So...
another thing too, John, just to let everybody know that you and I had spoke about a festival.
Yes.
In fact, it's called Guitar Masters 2.0. And John and I have been talking about putting this festival on as well at the end of August. We actually have one coming up in June. That is going to be a mini tour, actually. The Guitar Masters 2.0, and we are actually getting ready to get on the road in May, between May and June. But let everybody know what's happening with that. They can contact you, and then anything else in between,
Sure.
they can
And any information that you get, definitely funnel it my way, and I'll broadcast it, over the wires.
Cool.
But
Awesome.
okay, guys, look towards that camera there. If you have any final words towards the audience, people out there watching, shoot. Oh man, I really put you guys on the spot.
Yeah, you did.
Well,
Any last words?
But no, actually, I guess from our vantage point, being a bunch of God followers, I guess you could call it, music, and we just want to be ambassadors for him through music, and that's kind of, I guess, everybody has an evangelistic tool, I guess, and music is our thing too. So, but I know during this time, with COVID and everything, everybody's future seems to be up in the air. Nobody knows what's going on, but
I'm actually more worried about the economy than COVID, but
Yeah.
that's another
That
story.
too.
Yeah.
but things are, people don't know what to do or what's going on. And I know even in if you're a believer too, you kind of look around and just wonder what's going on, But God's in control. But even those who don't know, I can't imagine what, whatever you believe in. But I know that I found in my own life that, God shows himself to be real every day. If you look and you can see him working through your life and stuff like that, So there is hope in Christ, you can put your faith and trust in him. Forgiveness is already there, when Jesus died on the cross. That's the whole beautiful thing about the gospel.
Absolutely.
Is that, your sins are paid for. All you have to do is just believe that he's God's son. He is who he said he is. He's got you in his hands. No matter what happens or the life circumstances throw your way, he'll work you through it. He may not remove the trouble, but he'll walk you through it, and your faith will be strengthened for it. So,
well, on that note, be true to yourself. Be true to your audience. Do the best you can. And God is always in control, whether you see it or not. And whether you're a believer or not, talk to us. Ask us any questions.
yeah, we love to share.
We love to share. We love to talk to you. Hey, if you want to work together, this is what I'm going to say. Do not hesitate to go and do what's necessary to get what you need. Or do what you need to do to get to that level.
Yeah,
Just don't stomp on everybody else's toes to do it.
that's right. In fact, you might need the help of those other people in order to get there.
Absolutely.
That's the whole thing. Just don't look out for your own interests, but the interests of others as well.
Yeah.
So.
All right. I want to thank you guys for being on the show. You guys have been a real delight and great
Thank you for
company.
having us.
Yeah.
Great conversation.
Appreciate
I could let this this video go on probably for another 2 hours, But
Oh, man.
That's cool.
Oh,
that's
gosh,
all right.
yeah.
I haven't had any repeat guests yet, but it's gonna happen.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause I'm
Oh,
meeting
yeah.
a lot of cool
Absolutely.
people along the way,
Absolutely.
and there'll be more commentary.
Yeah.
All right, guys, have a
Absolutely.
good one, and I'll see you in the
Take
next
care, guys.
episode.
God bless.
Check out their links. See ya.
Take care, guys. Blessings.